So, Andrew Callaghan from Channel 5, a YouTuber that kinda began as a parody slash comedy news network channel many years ago, has recently uploaded the first public interview with none other than Hunter Biden, the infamous son of ex-US President Joe Biden. And I've been hearing around that it's one of the best interviews of the year. And from reading the comments on the video, I was expecting exactly that. But then I watched the full 3 hours of the whole thing and it was just terrible. The opening question was really good and it gave me hope on what kind of interview this was gonna be. Basically, Andrew asked, "Why are you speaking out now?" Implying that if Hunter Biden wanted to clear his image or defend himself against all of his accusations, such as his crack cocaine addiction or buying prostitutes or the infamous laptop, why not do it earlier? You know, when the topic was hot, when his dad was running the country. And then Hunter basically dodges the question by saying a whole lot of nothing without Andrew doing anything to stop him from getting away with it. It was at that moment, in the first few minutes, that I understood what the whole interview was gonna be like. When politicians do this crap, it's pretty easy to catch them. If they start going on a rant or ramble on for too long, most likely they are bullshitting. And if you're a journalist, it's your job to stop them on their tracks and reiterate the questions all over again as many times as necessary. This was the attitude news networks such as the Washington Post had back in the 70s when they were uncovering the Watergate scandal. They annihilated Nixon with every interview to the point he resigned from office. Andrew Callaghan did not do this. Not even once during the whole interview. Instead, he lets Hunter Biden get away with everything, explaining his side of the story where he basically makes himself a victim. The first hour of the interview is pretty much all about him explaining his past trauma and the tragedies that shape him into an alcoholic crack cocaine addict. And look, I'm not here to pick on the guy. You listen to his story and it's difficult not to feel sympathy for him. And it's this feeling that made me think to myself, hold on, why is this guy opening up like this? I mean, sure, it's a sobering experience to let out your dirty laundry, especially when the whole world knows about it. But why now? And then you realize, oh, he's planning on running for office. So Andrew is not only throwing him softball questions, letting Hunter portray himself freely as a victim of circumstance and public slander from political opponents, he's also promoting his fucking political agenda. It's very clear Andrew has no intention whatsoever of digging through Hunter's bullshit, and instead is just desperate to get on the good side of someone with a strong future in politics. This whole interview is just his first footsteps to clear his name as a candidate. Mark my words, I think Democrats will use Hunter Biden as their version of Donald Trump, where they'll have an atypical candidate running for office under the excuse that is exactly what Republicans did with Trump. Electing a president that didn't give a shit about his own image and played the game by his own rules. So, after an hour of listening to the guy's sobbing backstory, finally H. Biden opens up about his politics, and oh boy, they are fucking stupid. The topic jumps right into illegal immigration, and at this point, these two guys are basically sucking each other's cocks. They're just throwing the same emotional, misinformed, leftist values to each other. Andrew's whole take is basically, illegal immigrants have a right to come to the US because they take an outstanding amount of danger to be here. It's all emotional. That's how you know you're dealing with leftists. I like the bit where Andrew is interviewing a fat Mexican and the guy says he walked for 30 days across the desert.
Craziest thing to me is especially interviewing migrants and like hearing about the journey they went through to get here. You got some people who walked for 30 days to the deserts of Mexico into the Arizona desert in 110-degree hot summer.
Like, really, motherfucker? You believe this shit? Shit, it's so easy to lie to white people. But the best part is when H. Biden opens up about his own views on illegal immigration, and he blesses us with the second coming of Who's gonna clean your toilets, Donald Trump? Just listen to it.
And realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. Fuck you. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you got food on your fucking table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your fucking garden? Who do you think is here by the fucking...
If you want to meet a real racist white supremacist, just listen to your local leftist's opinion on brown people. Their whole shtick on open borders is always brown people good because they do shitty jobs we don't want to do. Come on, you can't take these people seriously. Another interesting take is H. Biden's opinion on El Salvador and its democratically elected president, Nayib Bukele. He basically said that if he was the president, he'd go to war against the country of El Salvador if they don't send back the deported criminals to America. I kid you not, he said this shit.
How are we getting those people back from fucking El Salvador? Because I'll tell you what, if I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would pick up the phone and call the fucking president of El Salvador and say, you either fucking send them back or I'm gonna fucking invade. It's a fucking crime what they're doing. He's a fucking dictator thug.
Bukele or Trump?
Both.
And Andrew Callaghan thought post-production that it was a good idea to leave it there in the final take. But the interesting part to me is how H. Biden calls Nayib Bukele a dictator thug. A while ago, I began following the news on El Salvador and how their new elected president, Nayib Bukele, pretty much achieved the impossible and recaptured the country from the claws of corrupt politicians and gangsters that were running the streets. And if you know a thing or two about El Salvador, they are infamous for being the country of origin of the criminal group MS-13. It's not the birthplace of this gang. That title is reserved to Los Angeles, California, because, of course, where else would it be? But it was primarily illegal immigrants from El Salvador living in Los Angeles that formed this gang. So, yes, illegal immigration has always been one of the main issues that gave rise to MS-13. The most brutal members of this gang have always been illegal immigrants. Why? Because the US and Mexico border has always been weak. I'm saying this because Andrew is stating in his video that it was the US's fault that MS-13 exists in the first place, as in America created MS-13. Again, a misinformed, stupid, and ignorant opinion that's being passed around by leftist groups that want to export all blame to the US and away from brown people. So, white messiah complex bullshit. The miracle here is how Salvadorans took back their country against all odds in a matter of a couple of years. It was absolutely inspiring. It was crazy to see them go from the murder capital of the world with an abysmal score in safety and standards of living to number 15 world's safest country, and most recently given a number 1 safety score by the US Department of State, making them one of the safest countries to visit for American citizens. It's the Cinderella story of a shithole country that through hard work and strict, real policies and no foreign influence from leftists completely flipped the table. Look at them a few years ago, and most Salvadorans were among the waves of illegal immigrants entering the US. Look at the numbers now, and there's almost no Salvadorans anymore. That's how you fix illegal immigration. You let these countries work their way out of poverty. And all this change is thanks to one man, Nayib Bukele. The same guy Hunter Biden called a dictator thug. Bukele's story on how he became a politician and went on to win the election in El Salvador is worth a full-blown Hollywood production. He faced corruption from inside and outside the government, where they banned his political party from running. That is, they cancel him and smear his name on an international level in front of the United Nations. And he still came back, won, and saved the country. A miracle. Truly inspiring. And the infamous max security prison that Bukele built a few years ago to deal with the criminal gangs in El Salvador, the same prisons leftists, including Hunter Biden, keep calling a concentration camp. In this same interview, he says shit like, people are being sent there to die, which is absolutely insane considering how much El Salvador is spending to keep these criminals alive every year. And also, there's this assumption that all illegal immigrants from El Salvador that are being deported back there are being sent to this prison right away without due process or evidence, which is incredibly racist to assume. To believe in this narrative, you have to assume El Salvador as a country doesn't have a proper functioning legal system, as if Salvadorans are living in the Stone Age under Abrahamic laws or some shit and don't know right from wrong, and we have to enlighten them with our incredible Western values, whether they like it or not. Modern day leftists pushing for Western imperialism in real time. If there's any proof that leftist politics don't make any sense in this day and age, please add this to the list. If Nayib Bukele is a dictator thug, what the fuck are you? This makes no sense. I'm not saying their justice system is perfect, but be realistic. No country has a perfect system. Out of the thousands of prisoners being sent to these facilities, could there be an innocent man or woman among them? Maybe. Does that mean the system doesn't work? Fuck no. It works. The large majority of people in these prisons have solid evidence to be there. Telling Salvadorans to get rid of everything is like telling Americans to dismantle their prisons or justice system because of one guy out of 100,000 that got sent there accidentally. Also, I like how Andrew transitions into the Hunter Biden laptop scandal by promoting a privacy app that makes Hunter look like a victim. Come on, dude. What the fuck is the point of being a political journalist if you're gonna be so biased in favor of the dude you're interviewing? It defeats the purpose. So when the topic finally switches to the laptop, immediately H. Biden becomes defensive. He dodges the question as soon as he's asked by asking it back to Andrew. And again, no pushback or word of protest from the dude.
So for those who don't know, what happened with that?
Well, I don't know. You tell me. And I really mean that sincerely. Like, you'll have a lot of people that will come up with something about the laptop. But I always say to anybody that, and my question to anybody that is keeping an open mind is, what is it that you think the laptop proves? Or what you call the laptop? So everybody has a laptop. So when they say Hunter Biden's laptop, what is it that they're talking about? Do you know?
Well, I know that your entire iCloud was connected to it. All of your personal text messages, private photos, all that kind of stuff.
Like everybody's laptop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you left it with a repair shop owner who, for some reason, gave it to Rudy Giuliani. Not exactly sure how that's legal. He distributed it to the press. From what it seemed like, it was a lot of private text between you and your friends, family. Your entire sort of private life was on there.
Yeah. And again, so everybody has a laptop. Everybody has a cloud.
I'm assuming not.
No, not everybody has a laptop. Everybody has, again, I ask anybody, you're steeped in this, and this isn't a challenging question, but it kind of makes my point. What does my laptop prove about criminality or anything?
Yeah, because I was kind of looking into it, and it seems like the conspiracy is that through those connections that you had to these, I guess, foreign governments, they were using you to leverage pressure onto your dad
Again,
somehow.
like what?
Well, that's the thing, is that when you're looking
And
for...
I'm not putting you on the spot. So you say Hunter Biden's laptop. What? I by the way, I'm talking out there to people that I would assume are, or want to be on my side, or at least want to be on the side that I'm a part of. What about Hunter Biden's laptop? How about this? Well, it was, and so again, I ask, so Hunter Biden's laptop, so what? So what?
It sounds like it became political cannon fodder to, make that election cycle as colorful as possible.
How do you defend yourself against it, though? So somebody says...
Well, let's start with the fact that your private photos were leaked by somebody that was supposed to be repairing your laptop.
And all of a sudden, who ends up with my laptop? The one person in that moment in time that had more to gain than anyone else. Does that just happen to happen?
You think that somebody that knows you may have been paid off to orchestrate some kind of data
I
leak?
don't know. And but at this point, it's like, who cares? So then I start, then
The whole section about the laptop continues with this dynamic. That is, by Hunter being freely defensive and dismissive, while Andrew pushes out in a corner, bitching out from the conversation. Look at him. Breathe, motherfucker. What the fuck is wrong with you? Come on, man. This is what the whole career is about. You see a moment of weakness, you go for the jugular. Be a fucking journalist. I'll save you the whole 30 minutes they spent talking about the laptop. It's basically Hunter Biden trying to switch the scripts, saying that the conspiracy is actually against him, where Russian agents added 500 additional megabytes worth of dark web content in the hard drive to incriminate him, and then asks everyone to just forget about it, Jeffrey Epstein style, as if the whole thing never happened. After they move on from the subject of the laptop, the rest of the interview is once again pretty pathetic. Hunter Biden goes back to working on saving his own image in a game of whataboutism, like for example, accusing Donald Trump Jr. of grifting off his dad, just like Hunter did, but without getting any public backlash for it. Look, two wrongs don't make a right. A 4-year-old can tell you this shit. But these are the kind of excuses being used around here with total impunity. Let's say we give this guy the benefit of the doubt. Let's assume that yeah, maybe there is a conspiracy against him. It still doesn't take away the fact that this dude is pretty much a piece of shit. Nepo baby that followed his father's footsteps by becoming a career politician, where he accumulated a considerable amount of power and influence in both private and federally owned companies, and rubbed shoulders with even more powerful and influential people that opened him the doors further into international affairs that compromise his legal integrity. Not to mention, he is still an ex-drug addict that dodged millions of dollars in taxes, got caught, and then got a get-out-of-jail-free card from his dad that the rest of us could never even dream of getting. Does that sound like a dude you'd vote for? He's just like every other Democrat, where his politics of virtue signaling are a cover-up to hide his fucked up nature. Does that mean we should all hate Hunter Biden? No. The dude is massively flawed, like the rest of us. I just think it'd be beneficial for him to just step away from politics for good. Dude, you get away with a lot of shit, and you still got millions of dollars on your name. A massively successful and influential family. You got a hot wife, a child, you're 55. Just retire, bro. Keep painting your stuff. Cast your vote every 4 years for whatever the fuck you believe in, like the rest of us, and fuck it. That's all I can say and hope for this guy. And as for Andrew, just keep doing your little leftist documentaries for white people, man. You're not made for interviewing jack shit, let alone political figures. This whole interview was a disaster. It's obvious it was prepared and orchestrated beforehand to benefit Hunter Biden. And Andrew's weak nature, where he tries to humanize everybody regardless of their personal beliefs, doesn't work when the subject of his interviews are important political figures instead of random wackos in the streets. By trying to humanize Hunter Biden, Andrew had to sacrifice his integrity as a journalist. That is, someone trying to uncover the truth, and instead becomes another actor in this whole charade, trying to cover it instead. So, that's what this whole thing is about. Hunter Biden trying to clear his own image, publicly announcing his interest in running for office, and Andrew Callaghan trying to befriend an unpopular but still very influential and powerful political figure. I mean, by the time I'm writing the script for the video, the interview is just a couple of days old, and Andrew already has another one loaded up in the chamber. At least I appreciate the honesty and the dishonesty. I don't need these two motherfuckers telling me what they think. It's clear to see. In their hypocrisy, they ironically make themselves transparent as fuck. And it's pathetic. I think this marks a new low for American Democrats and a new low for American politics in general. With Hunter Biden running as a candidate, 2028 is definitely gonna be another fucking circus. And that's all I gotta say. Thanks for listening. Bye.